Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Gen Politics. So, the House has just voted to release the Epstein files nearly unanimously, 427 to 1. The only one who didn't vote to release them is Clay Higgins from Louisiana, a Republican rep. But this is pretty shocking that it was nearly unanimous. But at this point, it is such a problem to be in the way of this. It has become such a problem for the Trump administration, for both Democrats and Republicans, that everybody has to be on board with releasing the Epstein files because it is the main issue of our time. It is the fundamental issue plaguing the country, that is this country being run by people being blackmailed or who are taking part in some of the worst acts you can commit. And that's the crux of this whole thing, because a lot of those people are still out there, allegedly, right? We haven't had any arrests besides Epstein and Ghislaine. And to say that they just did that alone is insane. So people want transparency. They want to find out are the people who were doing it, even if they've stopped, they need to face justice. And two, that it's probably likely that these people haven't totally stopped all these illicit activities. The people who were participating in them when Jeffrey Epstein was running them, these things tend to continue under different people. So we want to find that, we want to root that out, and we want to totally get rid of it. And the fact that the Trump administration has seemed totally uninterested in pursuing any investigation into anyone alleged to be involved, really looking to find who was involved, and just saying there's nothing here, there's nothing to be done. The Trump administration has looked so terrible, him, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, that Trump was forced to flip this past week and say, okay, I endorse releasing the files. We should vote to release them. Now, to me, that's concerning because we don't have the files totally yet. People have to get them and then go through them. But when somebody is clearly hiding something for months, Trump was clearly uninterested in pursuing this. Whether he's involved, whether he's just covering up for it, there's a whole debate there. But at the very best case scenario, he's just covering up for these people, right? So he was forced to release them. Now, when someone is hiding something for months and then does a total reversal, like, actually, I have nothing to hide. You can come in and search everywhere. I've got nothing to hide. You should be concerned. You should be very concerned about what you're actually going to receive, what you're actually going to find, because what they were hiding is probably not there anymore. And that is the problem with the files that will come out is, are they going to be redacted where it's just pages of black text, black ink, covering everything? Everything's redacted. Are there going to be pages missing? Is stuff been scrubbed? We don't know. That's going to have to be figured out by people who know a lot more about this than I do. But that's the concern, is we're really not going to get anything. And even if we do, even if we get some names, some allegations, the Trump administration clearly has no interest in prosecuting anybody. They want to wash their hands of this. They want it to go away. So the idea that we're going to get new files and suddenly we're going to have this name of all these people involved and all this evidence, and then we're going to go after them, prosecute them, it's probably not going to happen. And I don't want people getting their hopes up about that, because this doesn't seem like the administration that has any interest in doing this and actually getting to the bottom of this. And so the best thing that is coming from this is that Trump felt so desperately that he needed to release them. He was under so much pressure. I've said a year ago, 2 years ago, that this Epstein thing is never going away. I'm not the only person who said that, but it's never going away. This is the most important issue of our time. If our politicians are being blackmailed by somebody, Epstein, who was working for foreign intelligence and ran this sexual assault ring, if he was using that to blackmail politicians, then every decision those people made, and if they're still in office making currently, every decision they make is not an act of free will. It's under duress. Somebody's controlling the politics of our country and several other countries, quite probably. That's the allegation. That's what we want to figure out, is how corrupt is this? How deep does this go? Was this a solo man working alone? Everything points to no, but Trump and his administration have no interest in pursuing that. So Trump, however, was forced to release it. He was under so much duress from the people. I mean, everybody's been demanding this. It is not going away. Trump wants to talk about anything but the Epstein files. He wants to talk about how great the economy is. But like I said, if your country is controlled by people being blackmailed, any economic decision made is not made by the people running the country. It's made by whoever's doing the blackmailing. So every issue, every policy runs downhill from that allegation. If people are being blackmailed, then nothing else matters until you solve that problem. That's the top of the stream. And so nobody wants to pay attention to anything else because nothing else is that important. Anything that Trump does that's good can be undone immediately by these people who still remain. That's the problem, is until you get rid of the corruption, nothing actually permanently long-term gets better. And so Trump felt he needed to release this. And even if we don't get anything from it, even if we don't get any new information, even if we don't get any arrests, the good news is that the people have so much willpower now that they're united in a way that the politicians have to listen to. Like they're actually afraid of getting thrown out of office. They're actually afraid of losing their livelihoods, of losing their power and influence when they do something that the people disagree with. They actually have to capitulate to the demands of the people. And so that's minimum the best case that comes from this. Like at the very least, it proves that they do have to listen at a certain point. And the more we press issues that are important, like the Epstein files, or having affordable economy, or not being involved overseas, the more we press these issues and force our demands, the more they're going to have to capitulate. They realize now, and I think the people realize now too. So that's the good news. Now, I'm ready to be pleasantly surprised if we get some names, some actual evidence. But even then there's a huge problem. That is, Kash Patel said there's no evidence, right? There's no evidence he was trafficking people. There's nothing there. If it turns out that there was, then that is really, really bad for the Trump administration, that they would just actually literally be blatantly covering it up. And we would know that for sure, right? It would, basically everyone in the Trump administration could go to prison for perjury for saying there's nothing there. There's no credible evidence. So I don't think that's likely that we're actually going to get anything substantial. We'll probably get nuggets of information, hints at what was really going on, what's still going on. That's quite possible. And people have done a good job online of kind of really taking the bare minimum of crumbs and finding a trail. So this will probably help with that, draw some more connections. It'll give people more ability to put pressure on their politicians. But the idea that suddenly someday we're actually going to get the truth and all these people are going to be arrested and hanged for treason or whatever, probably not going to happen. But that does not mean to say that things are not going to get better. So we'll have to see if the House passes it, if the president signs it, or not, if the Senate passes it, and the president actually signs it and then is not stopped by the law enforcement agencies saying, well, actually, there's an ongoing investigation now. We didn't have one before, but we just started one today, which means we can't release anything. You never know what's going to happen. There's all sorts of shenaniganry, but the people are sick of it. They're sick of the shenanigans. They want transparency. When you are a president who runs on transparency and releasing these specific files and then do everything in your power to not do that, you look really suspicious. Enough where I think Trump just broke when everybody was accusing him of blowing Bill Clinton. I think he finally had enough where he's like, oh, I actually want to release the files now. Like I said, whether they're redacted or scrubbed, who knows? We'll have to find out. But this is a good sign that Trump can cave to pressure. He should cave to pressure. And no matter what the people in his administration are telling him, that the information is leaking through. He's stuck in his ivory tower. Susie Wild keeps his phone locked in a box, I'm sure. Won't let him go on Twitter and actually see what the people think. But the information leaks through. He hears this stuff. He clearly is upset by it. And everybody's kind of hating him now. They don't have a favorable opinion of him over this, or basically anything he's doing right now, because he's not listening to the people. If he starts listening to the people as what he was supposed to be, the people's president, he would do a lot better job. But right now, he's in a really, really bad spot, and I think he realizes that, and so that's why he totally flipped the script. But I still have reservations about how much we'll actually find out about this. But anything credible, we do find out. Anything that I think substantially will lead us further to having a real America First agenda, to actually having justice for these victims, I'm going to talk about. So stay tuned for that as we find more out. But if you made it all the way through the video, I appreciate it. If you like the content, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comments below.